Let's go. Soul not for sale, as always. Not for sale. This is episode 418 of the Soul Not for Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Let's get right into it. Roseanne's son, I believe her producer in her podcast with James O'Keefe that I'm about to show you. I believe her son is the producer. He's the one doing he's doing the Jamie thing, you know, Joe Rogan, he's doing the Jamie thing. Now, they get right into it. Like, this is episode 2. They're touching on some wild stuff. Now, he's about to show a clip of Larry Fink, and he asks a very interesting question. I like it. I like this podcast a lot. I know Roseanne says some wild things, and she's really out there, and, you know, I know, but I like it, man. We got the Soul Not for Sale stuff. We got the anti-WEF stuff. And we got the Great Resist stuff. Let me just click on a t-shirt here for you. Check out the Great Resist. Join the Great Resist and resist the Great Reset. And if you have purchased anything off of this site, we thank you so much. And if you don't know what site that is IamCoachColin.com. Site again is IamCoachColin.com. Discount code for 10% off. I am Coach Colin. All one word. All capital letters. 1 L on the Colin. Now let's get into this clip. Very, very interesting, the question he poses to these two. Let's go.
Is on the path.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. And, you know, 2 more steps.
2 more
You're
steps,
right there.
1 step at a time.
I want to ask one more thing. I know you guys are wrapping up, but I keep wanting to talk about when you say, don't these people care about money? These corporations care about money. So the question I have for both of you is...
Well, that's like Bud Light, Target, Kohl's.
Well,
no, they don't care about money.
Have you seen the BlackRock CEO? I have a video. Have you seen what he said?
What did he
Can
say?
I play it for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
This is recent.
Well, BlackRock, is that Larry Fink?
Yeah, watch this.
That guy's Fink.
Behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. What we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay? You have to force behaviors, and if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
What the hell does that mean?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I want to
I
ask
have
you guys.
so many questions.
Well, it seems like, right, that there is a larger agenda at play that doesn't have to do with money, that doesn't have to do with corporate profits. In fact, Target's willing to blow $13 billion. Bud Light, we know all the stuff. You guys, ABC, Disney. So if it's not money, what else is it? And why is it always on one side, one political spectrum,
Power.
one narrative? Power. But
Unfettered power.
But why is it the corporations that are pushing this sort of woke ideology? And what you really get out of
Fascism.
that video, if you watch it the way I did, and you guys probably agree, forcing behavior, he's basically doing corporate fascism,
Right.
corporate bribery, terrorism. I'm not saying what happened to you, James. I'm just saying, you know, the timing is suspicious. You run
He's
a story on
forcing
Pfizer,
behavior.
you're out. So there are powerful corporations at play that are pushing an agenda that's different than you and Tucker and a lot of other people that have been deplatformed. So it's not about money. So my question to both of you before we wrap up is, what is it? What is it about? Why are they so concerned with this narrative? Because it's got to be nefarious. It's not, I don't believe for a second it's to bring people up and people of color. I don't buy that shit for a second. It doesn't feel like
They don't
that.
care about gay people or black people or anything.
Absolutely. So what do they care about?
Power. They care about their perversions and their degeneracy caused by their love of unfettered power. And it does corrupt, absolutely. And they are corrupt. And, you know, you just have
And I've dealt with atheists, and I've seen, you know, their love. There's certainly a love of power, and an envy. And envy is the root of a lot of evil in the world. Envy is the root of a lot of socialism and communism.
That's true.
In the Soviet Union, it was envy, I believe, that drove people. And your whole discussion about being an artist and them trying to bang down the nail, a lot of that's envy.
That's true.
And they wanted to be you. They wanted to tear you down because they could not be you. And they eventually worked to replace you. So that's what they did with me. People wanted to be me, but nobody can be me.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own person. And I've seen it. And I think that I'm going to be working on stories that help answer your question.
That's
and
great.
you know what? We don't have all the answers yet, nor should we speculate. But what I do know is Roseanne's right. It's power, it's envy, it's greed, it's a lack of integrity, it's a lack of morality. Newsmen 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, probably more than 30 years ago, before Diane Sawyer's time, Primetime Live is when things stopped. They actually had bosses with balls that would go do this stuff and spend the money on the investigative.
Spotlight.
I mean, Wallace way back when in the 70s, that's gone.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing costs too much. It costs too dearly.
Yes, it does.
And and you have to have really these Wall Street people. I mean, you have to have people who have really strong constitution and values and good leadership and boundaries. And where do you find men like that today? So you have a lack of that, and that leads to this.
We do have a lack of that.
You know?
Yeah, it's just
my answer.
It's just weird to me that movement that they're doing gives them more power, because maybe I'm archaic. I would think money is power. So if you're corporations and you're making a shit ton of money, now you have power. But if you're willing to give up money, then there's got to be something else they value more than money.
But that's only because money's pretty well fiat and worthless. If money was really still worth something, they wouldn't be doing
Well, when I look
that.
at a transaction, I think, as a reporter, I think who stands to gain.
Right.
So,
But you mean financially who stands to gain?
well, let me put it to you this way. If someone wanted to take out James O'Keefe, who stands to gain from James O'Keefe being removed or Tucker Carlson being removed? Well, a number of people stand to gain.
Yeah.
So think about it that way. It's not just the bottom line, and that it's a larger bottom line. So we don't have all these answers yet, but you know what? I believe these answers will come to light in due time.
I like that you're training people to replace you in case you do get off.
Yeah.
Yes, super.
That's a smart thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if they take you out, there's a million more
They
people.
can't. They can take out one man, but they can't take out an army of people. That's what scares the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. Solid episode. Solid. If she keeps up like this, I don't know. This is great. Maybe James just brought it out of her because everything that James is about. But yeah, this is a solid podcast. You know what I think when it comes to this whole thing? I think of like Wayne Gretzky. So Wayne Gretzky used to have a thing where people would ask him how he was so fast, you know, how he's so good at what he does. Hockey player, great hockey player. And he said once that he doesn't go to where the puck is, he goes to where the puck is going to be, right? So in this situation of like, why would these companies do this? You have to look at like, where is the puck going to be? So don't think about why they're doing all this now. Think about why they would be doing this 20 years from now, right? I think it is power, but I think it's a different type of power. I think they want power over us to an extent, but more so, if you think about it, you know, what's real power or what's real control? Real control isn't really having you under control, because they could just lock you up in your house and keep you there, and like then they control you, and you know, that's it. But real control would be being able to control your kids' kids, you know? So it wouldn't really, so again, and people always have this thing, oh, they're after the children. I don't think that they're after the children. They're trying to mold the world that the children, when these children are adults, are going to walk into. And that's real control, you know? That's the actual control that they're after right now, I believe. You know, because right now, they're doing all this stuff. They don't care if I want to date a trans person, or if you want to date a trans person, or if you even want to hire one, or if you'll work with one. They don't really care about that. They just care about you're going to be out of the workforce sooner than later. And when you are, they want people to step into the workforce who are accepting of all these things. Not for the good of everybody. You know, there's also other layers to this, but they want to be able to control what's happening to the next generation and the next generation, and what they're willing to accept, and the disintegration of their boundaries, right? Because the disintegration of boundaries is, in essence, tolerance, right? If you tolerate everything, then you have no boundaries. If you have no boundaries, anything can happen to you. If anything can happen to you, it's because you're easily controlled, manipulated. So that's what I think's going on more so. It's not that they want to control little kids. It's that they want to control the adults that these kids are going to be and the generation after that. Because that, in essence, is like real control. Especially having that type of control without those generations even realizing it. That's the key thing. You don't want to have to whip somebody into a jail cell and they're mad and they're screaming at you and you're screaming at them. You don't want that. You want to be able to imagine walking somebody into a jail cell and they don't even know they're in a jail cell. And they're just like, this is great. This is fantastic. And they turn around. They're like, thank you so much for bringing me here. And you're like, yeah, man, it's great. You want that type of relationship with the people you control. I would think. But I don't actually know. You know, I'm just trying to think of where the puck is going. You know, I think with most things that are going on that don't quite make sense, if you think of it that way, it kind of starts to make more and more sense, I think. But yeah, control. At the end of the day, it is power. They're both right. It is power, but I think it's different than the superhero villain relationship type of power. You know, the villain that just wants to control the city. Like, I think it's different than that. You know, in some ways more insidious, more sinister. I think so. But yeah, great podcast. Like the video. It helps so much. You have no idea. It boosts us out of the shadow realm. Although with podcasts like this, I don't know if that's going to happen ever. But no, it has actually. And anybody who's liked the video, thank you so much. You have no idea. It is actually helping a lot. We are getting more exposure. We're getting shown to more accounts. I can actually see that in our analytics. So thank you so much to everybody who's helped do that. And other than that, I am out.